there is no such thing as sudden enlightenment. Why not? Because it is not a moment of intellectual realization. Only intellectual realization can happen suddenly. Existential realization, where you are transcending all the physical sensations of the body, cannot happen accidentally. It is a gradual process. Ultimately, when the explosion happens, it is so spectacular, so different from all your other experiences, so thoroughly, utterly, completely life transforming, it just feels like it just happened. It's instantaneous. But without the preceding process, something in his habit, something in his routine, not contributing to that moment of silence and stillness, it would not have happened. That is why enlightenment just doesn't happen to anybody and everybody while they're just going about their lives. Now, if it can happen suddenly, why only to Ramana Marhashi? What are the conditions? You have to look at it more scientifically, not religiously. But there is a part of us that loves to find miraculous things. A part of us that is so obsessed with finding something you cannot understand, something you cannot explain, it fascinates you. So the moment you say, here is a young boy, and he had an instantaneous reaction, an instantaneous explosion, and he became enlightened, now that catches your attention. Then all the explanations follow. Or maybe he had been working for it in his previous life. He came very close, and for whatever reason, he could not become enlightened. Now, here in this life, he's become enlightened. The moment you move away from a process that has helped an individual to become enlightened, you are looking for some miraculous explanation. And all explanations, apart from that process, is simply a way of saying, we have no idea how this happened. Past life, the residue of that enlightenment continuing in this life, and then suddenly, instantaneously, the realization. But here is the reason why enlightenment is not an instantaneous process. It is a process, it cannot be instantaneous. Here is the reason why. Enlightenment is a moment when you are there as the purest form of you. Except for the presence of I, except for this glowing, expansive feeling of aliveness, there is nothing there. This is almost next to impossible to conceptualize. You are there. In fact, you are there for the first time. Up until then, you only thought you were. You didn't know exactly what is it to actually be. You were only getting a glimpse of that being amidst of the becoming that is your life. Now, here for the first time, you are experiencing your being as a continuity. There is nothing to obstruct this experience of being. There's no body to obstruct it. There is no mind to obstruct it. Just pure presence. Now, how can a physical body, one moment it is the body, fully attached to the sensations of the body, fully attached to the mind. In fact, the word attachment is totally meaningless. That is who you are. A boy of 16 is a boy of 16 in every sense. Even if he has very few thoughts, he still has thoughts. Because thoughts are not just desires. The very process of living is a thought process. You wake up in the morning and you're thinking. You're sleeping and you're thinking. Your thinking is always happening. If you see a person, if there is a body, you can be certain that there is a mind there. If there is a body, there is a mind. If there is a mind, there is thinking happening. The only time when there are no thoughts, you have transcended thinking completely, is when you are deep in meditation. To get to that depth takes months, takes years of practice. And what is it that you're practicing? Life is noise. Your body is noise. Nobody can suddenly clear out that noise because you are that noise. When you try to clear out that noise, who is clearing out that noise? When you say Ramana Marhashi became suddenly enlightened, the question is, how? And what is the meaning of that enlightenment? If you say instantaneously his mind was gone, his body was gone, everything was gone, how can that happen? How can it happen without a gradual movement towards that silence? Firstly, it cannot happen instantaneously, and if it had happened instantaneously without him wanting it, without him moving towards it, he would have lost his mind completely. There is no way for him to come back from that state and live till the age of 70. It is impossible. We can create such miraculous stories because we know nothing about enlightenment. We talk about it as a concept. Existentially, enlightenment is a totally different process. It cannot happen instantaneously because it is death. Death can happen instantaneously only when someone else is involved, something else is involved. It cannot happen by itself. You cannot simply be sitting and just die. Especially when you are a 16-year-old boy. You can instantaneously die. When you're old, something has gone wrong, or just a natural process of life. You can die in your sleep. But again, death is such a difficult proposition. If death were to be so easy, then things would have looked very different. Despite of all the things that are happening, sometimes things that affect the body very negatively. You are unable to do something. Let's say you met with an accident or something else has happened. Still, life continues, the body heals, it grows around it, it learns around it. Death is the last thing. Life clings because even a single thought is enough for the seed of life to take root and grow. And we've heard stories of individuals going deep into coma, unable to think, unable to contemplate on the body, their own reality, nothing, and they've come out of it. Because somewhere the thought process is continuing where you cannot see. Eventually they come back. Death is not a simple phenomenon. It cannot just instantaneously happen. Yes, it can instantaneously happen if there is something external. On the inside, that instantaneous death is an impossibility. On the inside, you have to move gradually towards it. And what is this death? It is the death of the sensations of the body. It is the death of the sensations of the mind. And it is not even death, it is a moment when you are experiencing yourself without the disturbance of the mind and the body. As far as the mind is concerned, as far as the body is concerned, you are dead. But as far as you are concerned, for the first time you are alive. That is why the moment of enlightenment is the moment of liberation.